Hi everybody, it's Carla Ekman with Cobweb Corner Cross Stitch, and this is FlossTube number 10. And guess what? We reached 210 subscribers, so we reached the 200 point. Yay! And thank you to everyone who subscribed. If you're joining me again, thank you, thank you, thank you. I really do appreciate. I know 200 subscribers doesn't sound like a lot to the channels that have 6,000 or 7,000, but to me it's like, oh my gosh, 200 people actually watched at least a few seconds of my video and decided to subscribe. So thank you. And I hope that if you're new that you'll find something in this video that you enjoy. So I have a lot to talk to you about. I made up like this huge list and have been working all morning trying to get stuff ready. And let's see if we can get through it all and not take up too much of your time. So, first of all, I was on. Oh, my cat's going to come up here again. Oops, sorry, I hit the video. This is going to be an interesting FlossTube video. So this weekend, this last weekend, my husband and I and my daughter went to Germany, and we were gone for a total of 4 days. We left on Thursday, flew overnight, and landed in Frankfurt about 9 o'clock Friday morning, and spent Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in the town of Mainz. I was saying it wrong. It's M-A-I-N-Z. Bo, you need to stay down. And I'll just highlight a few things and maybe insert a couple of photos. Oh, there's Bo. Okay, insert a couple of photos. This is Bordeaux. For those who haven't met you before, she always wants to be on me, and she wants to be up here. But it's kind of a ongoing struggle, especially since I get a lot of scratches when she jumps up onto my shoulder without me knowing she's going to jump up on my shoulder. But we'll see how this goes. So we arrived Friday morning, and we checked into our hotel, and our hotel was literally right across the street from the train station, which was really nice because we were going to do a couple of other things. Well, we were going to do at least one other train ride, and we also needed to get back to the airport very early on Monday morning. So the first day, our rooms were ready, and we checked in, and we all laid down, took a nap for about an hour and a half. And I didn't sleep at all on the plane ride over, but I felt pretty good, took a real quick nap, and then we walked around Mainz. And the highlight of the Mainz visit was the Gutenberg Museum. And everybody's probably heard of the Gutenberg Bibles. And the whole museum, the museum was just really nice. The only bad thing was I didn't opt for the audio tour in English, and I really wish I had, because the signage was really poor. It was all in German, very, very little English. So, but we spent probably 2 hours there and didn't even see all the floors. But it's the history of the printing press, and then talks about, in particular, how Bibles were recreated. And so, of course, they originally were written by monks and illustrated by monks. And then they talk about how Gutenberg invented the first printing press and was able to print the Bibles. And what they did was they came up with lettering that was still very much in the style of, the really fancy lettering that the monks would use. And then they would leave the paragraph beginnings off. So like the big fancy letters that are illustrated that you see on some of the Bible pages, they would leave that off, and then their very wealthy customers would purchase a Bible, and then they would decide how they wanted those parts illustrated, and those would be illustrated by hand. So any illustrations and any coloring were done by hand. That was really interesting. But and then they had a vault where we got to see one or two of the original Gutenberg Bibles, which I think they said there's only 49 left in existence. So that was cool. We also got to see some Bibles that were completely written by hand. But then they had other rooms that were on other countries' creation of mass printing. Not it was very difficult. So how they had Korea, Japan, Egypt on. We didn't even get to the Egyptian floor. I can't even remember it all. And then they had a number of different printing presses on a floor that you could look at. Anyway, it was, and they also had one of the neatest things. What they had a collection of miniature books that had been donated to the museum. So they had the tiny books that you needed a microscope to see almost, and then some even more standard miniature books like that. So that was really fun. We really enjoyed that. And then we went to supper at a restaurant called Heiliggeist, which is Holy Ghost, and I'm probably saying that right. I do not speak German. And I ended up having quiche, salmon quiche, which was excellent, and my daughter and my husband got Wiener Schnitzel. And the next night we ate at another local restaurant, and I had Wiener Schnitzel with mushroom gravy, and oh my gosh, it was so good. Really, really good. So Saturday we went on a 6-hour wine tour. It's a maximum of 6 people, and 6 people were there, and it was done in English. Our guide was fabulous. We visited the Abbey. Have you ever seen the movie with Sean Connery called Name of a Rose? I've seen it 2 or 3 times. I love it. I love Sean Connery. So we visited the Abbey where the interior shots of that movie were made. And the history that they explained was that the main money-making venture of the Abbeys were wine production. And of course everybody drank wine back then. This would have been in the 1100s, 1200s, because the water was unsafe to drink. So everybody drank some kind of fermented drink to make it safe to drink. So we did that. That was really interesting, and tasted the wine there. And then we went to a local independent winemaker and bought a couple bottles of Riesling. We were in the area of Germany where that's known for Riesling. Paul and I usually drink red wine, but the Riesling was fabulous. We had Riesling with every meal, not breakfast, every supper meal. And then Sunday, we took a 2-hour train ride to Cologne and saw the cathedral there. And I'll insert some pictures. I should probably pause a little bit so I can do that. And also, I'll just do it real quick. There is amazing. It's the largest, for many, many years, it was the tallest building in the world, and it's the largest 2-spiral building or cathedral, I believe, in the world. And it's a Catholic church, and its claim to fame is the reliquary there contains, and I'll have a picture of the reliquary, contains the remnants of the 3 magi. Now, whether you believe that or not, that's up to you. I'm not trying to promote any kind of religion or anything, but that's what that cathedral is known for. And if you ever get a chance to go to Europe and visit the cathedrals, always pay the extra. It's usually €2 or €3. This one was €3 to see the treasury. The treasury is the church's collection of relics and usually tapestries, scepters, procession crosses, those types of things. The treasury at this cathedral in Cologne was unbelievable. It was amazing what they had. Now, I had been to a number of treasuries and cathedrals in France, and unfortunately in France, so much of the church's treasures were destroyed during the French Revolution, because the French, the main reason for the French Revolution was inequality, and the church was extremely wealthy. So when the revolution happened, they went into the churches, defaced many things about the church, and entered the treasury rooms and stole many of the items there, melted down the gold stuff. They even melted down tapestries that had gold thread in them and stuff. So you'll go into some cathedrals in France, in smaller towns and stuff especially, and so much has been destroyed, and there's still a lot left, luckily. And then, of course, you also had World War II and World War I, but the bombings of World War II all over Germany and all of Europe have destroyed so many of those precious things also. But the treasury here was amazing. The precious stones in the reliquaries. Now, a reliquary, in case you don't know, is usually a very ornate box that holds relics. And relics are most often, parts of human bodies of saints. So you may have a finger bone from St. Peter, or a sliver of the cross, or contain items and things that are very, very important to the church. So it was very interesting, and they had a number of procession crosses that were just amazing. So it was just really, really fun to see. So we enjoyed that. And then the other thing we did in Cologne was we visited the Lindt Chocolate Museum. And that was really fun too, because I really like my chocolate. So it was kind of, Lindt chocolate is made in Germany. I think it was started being made in Cologne. And you walk to the factory. I'll try to insert some photos. And well, they had a chocolate fountain that supposedly never ends, never quits, and you got a little cookie dipped in the chocolate fountain. You got to sample that. And if you were patient, you could get in line and have a custom candy bar made. It took about 45 minutes. We didn't do that. Then they had like some old-fashioned, really old candy vending machines, and they had a whole history of the cocoa plant and how the cocoa plants are harvested, and the importance of chocolate in trade and in the world and stuff. Really, really neat. So afterwards, after you left the museum portion, they had this big cafe, and everything in the cafe was chocolate. So we had hot cocoa with their own recipe, made with their own chocolate, with homemade whipped cream. And then they had just a whole case of desserts, and we shared two of the desserts. We had one of those hot chocolate cake things with the melted chocolate in the middle and ice cream, and then we had a raspberry one to say that we got our fruit for the day. So that was really fun. And then we went back home. We had our train ride turned into just a disaster. We didn't pay for the express train. We paid for the regional train, which means you have many stops. Well, halfway back, not even half, a third of the way back, all of a sudden the announcer comes in all this German. And we see everybody kind of looking around and gathering up their stuff. And I turned to my husband and I said, I think we have to get off the train at the next stop. And sure enough, at the next stop, everybody got off the train. And nothing was said in English. And we found somebody who spoke a little bit of English and said, yeah, this train's not running anymore. You got to get on a different train. Long story short, we spent an hour at least on the platform, and it was pretty cold. It was probably 50 degrees and windy and a little bit rainy, and trying to figure out what train we were supposed to get on. And watching everybody else, watching all the other people. Well, then the guy who was helping us says, no, we need to switch tracks. So come over to this other track. And then we finally saw on the display, Mainz. You're going to end up in Mainz. And I thought, okay, great. We'll just wait and get on this train. Well, everybody else that was on our train all of a sudden got on another train on the other train platform. And I'm like, oh, man. And then our train kept getting delayed. And I was just like, we are never going to get home. Long story short, I think we left Cologne at 5 o'clock, and we got home at 9:15. So it's a 4-hour train ride. It should have took like an hour and 45 minutes, maybe 2 hours. So, and it stopped at every single town between Cologne and Mainz. But we made it, and we made it just in time that our hotel restaurant was still serving supper. So went to bed after supper, got up at 6 o'clock in the morning, headed to the airport. Everything worked out great. We were home by 4:30 in the afternoon on Monday. So anyway, we had a great time. What did I buy in Germany? I bought 2 new fountain pens, and I am so excited. If you've watched my previous videos, you know that fountain pens are a thing with me. So my mission, we didn't do a lot of shopping, but I said I want to find a German-made fountain pen. And I got this one first, and I just loaded it with ink today. Here, if you can see, it's got a pretty fine tip. It's a beautiful color, kind of metallic pink type of thing. A little bit, it doesn't really have a lot of shape to it, but it fits my hand pretty well, and it writes really well. And it's beautiful. It's not decorative, but it's really nice, and I love it. Then we were in the airport in Frankfurt, and we had a couple hours, and so I start looking around, and I found another pen. And you know, these pens are not cheap. You can get fountain pens that are inexpensive and work just fine, but the ones that I buy for my collection are usually not cheap. And I bought a second one. I didn't even ask my husband, and I just bought it, and I love it. I started using it right away. You can see the little pattern. It's a different company. I think it's Faber-Castell or something. I'll try to get the names of the brands. Also made in Germany, and it's got an ultra fine tip, which I love. It writes like a dream. I just wish our paper, if the paper that is in Europe, especially, I don't know, especially in France, the quality of the paper is unbelievable. It is just so smooth. Even like their school workbooks and things, every time I go back, I pick up some more workbooks or journals or something because the paper's so nice. So anyway, two new fountain pens, bringing my collection to 5. I told my husband he would probably get off not having to get me in one for a little bit, but now I just love them. So that's our trip. So hopefully that wasn't too long of an update. We really had a good time though, and the best part was seeing my daughter. She lives in Huntsville, Alabama now, and she flew to Detroit, met up with us in Detroit, and I got 3 days of uninterrupted time with her, and it was just fabulous. I really, really enjoyed it. So on to non-vacation things. First of all, I want to do a call out to a new FlossTube channel. They've got 3 or 4 FlossTubes going. It is Snarky Stitch and Quilt, and I'll probably try to put a link to their channel below. They are super enthusiastic about cross stitching, and they love to shop, and they love bargains. And if you get a chance, give them some love and take a look at their channel. So Snarky Stitch and Quilt. Okay, again, announced last week's winner. That's the next thing on my list. I haven't drawn the winner yet, so I will pause the video a little later on and we will do that. Okay, about stitchy things. What did I do? Well, I didn't want to take any of my big projects on vacation with me, so I started a new one, and let me see if I can find the picture. I will insert a picture of the chart here. It's by M Designs, and it is called Sweet Spring. And I started it on the plane, and you can tell if I took it out of the Q-snaps, you would be able to tell I started it on the plane because it is completely not centered on the material. But fortunately, I'm still going to have plenty on each side to be able to frame it or do what I want to with it. So hopefully you saw I was able to insert a photo for you, but I worked on the border, and it doesn't look like a lot, but I actually stitched for quite a bit of time. And this part here, So this is all cross stitch, and this was a kit that had been on my site in my inventory for a long time, for years. And when I was getting ready to go on vacation, I'm like, I just need a kit. I need a small kit that I can just take and go, because it was we were leaving soon, and I didn't have any time to put kit anything up and stuff. And so I just looked through my inventory and what I had online and saw this, and I thought, this is perfect. So it came with the gingham and all the thread. And gingham isn't really my thing. I'm not a super country type person, but it's so easy to stitch on. And the chart is graphed, so there are six squares in each square of gingham, six stitching squares, and the chart is graphed by the gingham squares, so it is super easy. I don't know if I'm making sense on that. So instead of having a chart with 10 squares per grid, it goes by the number of the 6 spaces with the different gingham checks, and it is super easy to follow the chart, and you feel like you're going really quick because you only do 6 stitches instead of 10 in between each grid. So this will have some flowers in it, and I think a dragonfly, and it'll be a quick stitch. So new start, yay me. Oh, and this is the needle minder. Oh, I can't remember. It's the Faith. I'm sure you guys recognize that. I want to say, oh, it's not Country Cottage. I'll put a link before, but this needle minder is available on our site. Then the other thing I worked on very briefly, I got out my Angel of Healing chart by Lavender and Lace, and I started working on the hair. And this has actually taken me quite a while. There's a lot of, I think there's 4 or 5 different colors of tan and brown in there, and but I'm getting there. And then I'm doing the hair. I'm going to do all the hair, and then I'm going to try to do the face 1/1. I've never done that before, but I can't imagine it would be all that hard. We'll see. And she's coming along really, really well. I've got quite a bit of work to do on this side yet down here, but most of the bottom is done. So that's really good. And the needle minder I have here is by Gecko Rouge. I contacted Gecko Rouge, and I carry a number of their needle minders in our shop. So I really like this one. It's 2 cats kissing. So that's it. So I got that done, or I didn't get it done, but I was able to get some work done on that, and I'm really glad to get back to that. I do have a couple things I want to start already. I mean, I cannot tell you how FlossTube has gotten me to want to stitch, and it was like I go and I watch all these videos. I'm watching FlossTube all the time, and I watch all these videos, and I think, look at how many projects they start, and I have like 3, and I think that's, that's like, oh my gosh, my head's gonna explode. I have 3. But now I'm starting to see other charts I want to do, and I want to get going, and anyway. So okay, haul. I didn't really get any cross stitch haul, other than I bought another Q-snap on Amazon. This is an 11 by 11. I got this for a kit that I'm going to start. We'll talk about that a little bit later. It's a larger kit, and I wanted to be able to leave it on Q-snaps, and so I got that. Then I was watching Steph and Pam on Just Keep Stitching. I'm sure if you're a FlossTuber, you know who they are. And or Pam and Steph, Just Keep Stitching, and they were mentioning these peels, and she said, I use them on my Q-snaps to hold my fabric in place. And I'm like, wow, that looks like it would be really safe. So I ordered a bag of them. I ordered them on Amazon. I can't remember what they cost. I'll put a link below. But they're silicone, very soft and pliable, and what they are thread holders for spools of thread. So that's what their intended purpose is to wrap around a spool of thread and keep the thread from falling out. So the way I think Steph uses them is like on here, I had a little bit of fabric left that hung over on my Q-snap, and I was able to just tuck it in with this peel. So I did that, and then I had switched to a smaller Q-snap. This is a very long design. My it's a terrible light, I'm sorry. Angel of Healing chart goes, you know, down here, and I had switched to a smaller Q snap just so I could work on her face. And so I took the fabric and I rolled it up with the back side showing, and I put 3 of those on to hold that in place. And then it's not all hanging down, and I'm not exposing the stitch side. And it's super soft. It's not going to crease or hurt my metallic threads or anything. So that idea came from Just Keep Stitching. And I'm sure unless you're brand new to FlossTube, you're probably already watching them, but I want to make sure I let you know that that was not my idea. I get so many ideas from FlossTube people. It's hurting my checkbook a little bit, but you know, oh well. So the other things I bought this week are not cross stitch related. If you've seen me any of my other videos, I am really trying to work on eliminating one-time use items. So this week I purchased on Amazon, and again I'll put a link down, reusable produce bags, and I researched them. There was a couple that had other reviews, but I got these because you can see through them, so when you take them through checkout, they can see the tags that are on the fruit or vegetables that you buy. Excuse me. So you get quite a bit in a set. They're washable. And let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of this size. 4 of this size. And 2 large ones. So my intent, I already take my own bags, my own grocery bags, reusable grocery bags when I shop. And my intent is to start taking the produce bags. Instead of going up and grabbing the plastic bag off the roller, I'm going to try to use these. They don't weigh hardly anything. You know, they might be a little heavier than that plastic bag, but these will be used for many, 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 many years. So reusable produce bags. So that was that purchase. So the peels, the produce bags, I think that's it for quote haul. And oh no, one other thing I bought that I want to share is, before we had hoped that we would have warm weather in Germany, but we didn't. It was cold, and right before I left, I'm like, I am not prepared for this. I have to go shopping. So I did. I had already gone shopping once and bought shirts like this, but I went and I bought a whole bunch more clothes. So I'll have to post my Poshmark thing because I'm gotta get rid of some of my clothes that I'm not wearing. Anyway, I went to J. Jill and I bought this beautiful scarf. I just love it, and I wore it the whole time I was in Germany. I have a lot of scarves that I bought in France, but they're more winter scarves, and they're thick, and I never wear them. They just don't. I can't stand to have all that, you know, bunched up. But this one I just put around kind of tight and over, and then sometimes I just hung it in between my jeans jacket, and I just love the needlework and the embroidery on it. Of course, it's machine done and everything, but I don't care. It's just gorgeous. So that was another treat to myself. Okay, I think that's it for my stitching. Let's get on to shop news. What have I done since my last video? First of all, I put out a question on my Facebook page. If you're not following me on Facebook page, give it some thought. We get a lot of feedback, and I post questions. I also have some giveaways and stuff there every once in a while. But I post questions there to my peeps, and I said, I hardly sell any floss, and I'm wondering why. And I gave them some options like, I have all the floss I need. I didn't know you sell floss. Your floss is too expensive. You don't have the kind of floss that I need. things like that. Because all we sell at Cobweb Corner is Weeks Dye Works and DMC. And by far, I think, I don't know, 60 or 70 people answered the question. By far, they said, we didn't know you sold floss. So, hey everybody, we sell floss. We sell Weeks Dye Works floss and DMC right now. Also, everybody said, please start selling other flosses. And it was between two, Colorworks and Gentle Arts. So I am looking into Gentle Arts. But somebody mentioned, they said, I tried to buy some Weeks Dye Works floss from you, but you didn't have all the colors I needed. So I went in and started researching. Well, you know, I wasn't stitching before I started watching FlossTube very much, and I personally don't use the Weeks Dye Works very often, and it turns out that the distributor I was using didn't have like 75 colors of the Weeks Dye Works floss that's available. So I went to another distributor and I bought all kinds of Weeks Dye Work, and I spent hours getting that listed on my site and rearranging my inventory so it's in numerical order. So we have Weeks Dye Works floss, and I should have almost every color. There's a couple colors that they were out of stock on, so I'm back ordering those. So I'll put a link to there too. But I spent many hours getting that updated. And another thing I wanted to talk to you about with Cobweb Corner is we do have some programs that I think are unique to most online cross-stitch stores. First of all, we have a new customer welcome coupon that if you sign up, create an account with us, you get 20% off your first order with the coupon code WELCOMECC, and this will be down in the information below. That includes everything on your first order except for floss and items already on sale. So if you've been wanting to give us a try, you can save, and then if you reach $35 after discounts, you also get free shipping. So WELCOMECC, and you just enter that code during checkout in the coupon field. Excuse me. The other thing is we have a rewards program, and it's a loyalty points program, and every time you buy something, you earn, for every dollar you spend, you earn 1 point. And those points can be used for almost everything on our site. So as you accumulate points and save them up, then you have to have an account to do that because we have to have somewhere to track your points and to track what you use. If you create an account, you get 20 points free, and then like I said, 1 point for every dollar you spend. And every once in a while I'll have not a sale, but I'll have a promotion where anything you buy for a set amount of time you get double points. Then when you go on and shop, if you use the quick view, you know, where the little pop-up window of the product comes up, you won't see it. But if you go into the full detail of the product, you'll be given the option to purchase that product with points, and it will tell you if you don't have enough points to buy that product. And we have given away hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of products for free with reward points. So it's a great thing. You don't have to do anything. It doesn't cost anything to join the reward loyalty program. It's just all you have to do is create an account and you just start earning them. So I also decided another thing I worked on is I started a blog years and years and years ago, and the last time I updated it was 2016, so shortly after we got back from France. And I just never got into it really. But if you go, I'll post a link below, and if you go there, there's a whole bunch of posts from our life in France. You'll see our house we lived in, the flowers we planted, some of the things we did in that. So if you're at all interested in that, there's a bunch of posts that I did while I was in France. But I'm going to start doing it again. I'm going to start having FlossTube recaps where I can give pictures of things that I've talked about and maybe a little bit more information and stuff like that. So hopefully that will be beneficial to you. If you want a little, like if reading the individual lines underneath the YouTube video isn't your cup of tea, then you can go to the blog and it'll be there in a more readable fashion and some pictures associated with things. And stuff. So I've also started doing that. So that took a lot of time. Other than that, I have all kinds of inventory that I've been trying to get entered. And I've had, I don't know, I had like 3 more wholesale orders, and then I'm still working on the collection from my friend. I have hundreds of books for that I'm trying to get entered. So I just spend part of every single day trying to get inventory entered into our shop. It's very time consuming, it's very tedious, and since we're not a store, since we're online only, that's the only way I can, of course, get it out to you to be available for sale. And back in my back room, I probably have 5,000 books that are waiting to be entered into inventory, and then I keep buying. So it just never ends. But some of the new thing, I want to share some of the new things we got. The first thing is the new cross stitch journal by It's So Emma. I got a free copy of this as a from them because I'm a shop owner. As soon as I saw it, I went online and I ordered 10, and I've 2 left, and that's literally, I think I listed them. I didn't list them until I got back from Germany, so I listed them Tuesday probably, and I have 2 left, and I've already ordered 12 more. This is my personal copy that they gave me free. It's got a place for you to say this book belongs to. Then it's got my stitching list where you can, the journal you can track up to 50 projects. So you can have like an index. So you can say project 1 is such and such and stuff. And then if you're looking for a particular project in your book, you can go here first and find out what page it is or what project number. So I've started filling mine out. Here's the information that you can track. It's 1 project per page, so you've got your pattern name, your designer, start and end date, what fabric you stitched it on, what count, what the finished stitch size is, and then it's got a box for floss and time tracker and notes. Now, the floss, I think I'll only fill that in if I modify the floss a little bit. You know, otherwise I'm just going to say I used the called for floss. The notes, I put on this one, this is my Angel of Healing, and it says, I went many years without stitching this at all, worked on it a little bit in France, finally picked it up again in early 2019. Then on my Boo Bear, under the floss, I said, called for glow in the dark floss, I used standard DMC colors instead. I haven't listed what colors I used. I really like this, and I think it's going to be a great history for me. The time tracker thing, it's just not enough room. I mean, I wouldn't be able to put dates and time both, but I haven't started using that yet, but I probably will try. And then the floss, you can easily, if you listed all the floss it called for, some projects you would never have enough room. So how you use that is up to you. And the only change I wish it had is I wish it had a spot for a photo of your project, so that you could, as you were going through, like maybe you gave it away or lost it or whatever, and you want a reminder of what it looked like. So I wish it had a place for that, but I really like it, and they're super thin. You can fit them in any project bag, take it with you. So the back part has a thread inventory. To me, this is pretty useless because you have so many kinds of thread, and as soon as you add one, you're out. It would have to be a numerical order. So I wish it was a checklist. That would be, I know, impossible, or maybe have a place to insert updated pages or something. But you can use it for quick things like floss I need to buy or something like that, but I'm not sure I will use that. But I think these retail for $13.99 or $13.98, and I think they're $12.45 on our site. So I will put a link below for that. If they're sold out and you want one, add yourself to the wait list. If you add yourself to the wait list, you will be notified as soon as it's back in stock. But I've already ordered 12. They were shipped yesterday. They should be here very soon. Okay, new inventory. My featured designer this today, and I'm gonna just mutilate this name, is Cuore e Batticuore. It's Italian, and they're new to me. They're probably not new to you, but I love every one of their designs. Such a unique style. So let me show you the ones that I picked up, and I'll see about getting more. This one is called, it's in Italian, but I typed it into Google Translate, and it means it's not Halloween without pumpkins. Oops, that's not, there you go. And the little details that she does are, I just think, amazing. I guess I didn't have to look that up. It says it right there. It's not Halloween without pumpkins in English. Duh. So that's that one. I love that one. This one is called Autumn in Quilt, and it's really a mix of kind of traditional sampler things and whimsical. I like the teapot down in the corner. So lots and lots of little things there. This is my absolute favorite. It is called Christmas in the Snow, and I think I'm going to stitch this one. Look at the little details, like the patterns in the clouds. And there's a gift sitting in the crescent moon, and there's stockings hanging down from the clouds, and the little bird on the tree has a cape and a hat, and the tree is kind of like a Charlie Brown tree instead of a nice neat tree, and the star is tilted on the tree a little bit, so nothing's, you know, perfectly symmetrical. And look at the snowflakes. Instead of just having a snowflake, you've got little swirls. So I just think that is so neat the way, I mean, you know, she could have just made clouds that were just white, and instead she put fun polka dots and fun stars and stuff. So I just love this. I just love this. So this one I think is already listed. The first one I showed you isn't listed, but it will be very, very soon. This one is stitching in quilt. So it's different blocks with cross stitching motifs. So it's got the lady stitching up above. It's got the house with, again, kind of traditional sampler flower motifs. Just lots of little details. And of course you could use individual parts of this by themselves or stitch the entire design. The next one is This House Believes in Christmas. And again, it's just a little different take. I like the border. I like the snowflakes. I like the colors in the house. Just really, really neat. This one is, I tried to figure this one out in Spanish, and it came up 6 characters searching for Halloween, or in search of Halloween. Aren't those adorable? 6 miniatures with lots of detail. I love the ghost. I just love them all. And that one's not listed yet, but will be soon. Same motif as the others, Easter in quilt. And again, just the little details, like these birds up here in their pattern instead of just being plain birds. Sorry about that. All of a sudden my screen went black and the video turned off, and I was like, no, it's gonna cancel. But luckily it kept it. So yeah, otherwise I would have been starting all over. So we'll edit that a little bit and we'll keep going. Halloween in quilt. I love this design. Look at that cute little witch with the broom, and again, the detail. It's got a bird in costume on the back of the broom, the haunted house up at the top. Look at the faces on the pumpkins. This is so adorable. Cat in costume here. It's just really, really cute. This one is Halloween in the Rain. Again, it's just such a unique style, just different. I really, really like these. All right, so that is it. That is it for that designer. And those, most of those are listed, and hopefully by the time you watch this, they'll all be listed. A couple other new charts that I got. Last week, I showed you a chart by Sarah that was Halloween sampler. It just flew out of the shop. I think I have one copy left. This is another one by Sarah. It's an Italian designer. Halloween, Happy Halloween. And look how the shoe, the mouth of the shoe opens up and has teeth. Or the toe of the shoe opens up like a mouth and has teeth. And then just the really cute Halloween colors, kind of muted greens and oranges. It's just so unique. I really like that. Then I got some more treats of Kogut in that I hadn't had in our shop in the past. We've got Bloomin' Hands, Happy Halloween, Witchy Poo. If you want a Teresa Kogut that's faster to stitch, Witchy Poo with the black cat. And then one of my favorite additions to the site is French designer, publisher called Nemu. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it, but please correct me. Somebody give me a pronunciation lesson. This is Pomme à Cidre, which is apple cider, and it's got 4 tiny elves carrying the apple and 1 carrying a thimbleful of apple cider. And Le Lièvre and the Postier is the hare and the postman. And I have a number of other charts by them also. And back in stock, it's So Emma, got the Happy Farm Girl, Vintage Christmas, Farm Girl Fall, Quilter's Cottage, and that's it. So, okay, so I need to pause the video to go and get the giveaway winner, but I want to show you this week's giveaway, and I'm going to post a picture because I don't have all of the items with me. But when we were at the Lindt Chocolate Factory, we went into the gift shop, and I found these adorable ladybug candies. Now, after I bought them, okay, newbie mistake. I forgot to put my phone on airplane mode, so sorry about that. I'm gonna have a lot of editing to do with this video. But anyway, after I got these, I looked at the ingredients, and it says it has bourbon and vanilla extract. So I don't know if they are just a little bourbon flavored or what, but I think they're just solid chocolate. So the giveaway this week is going to be this box of chocolates and a skein of Weeks Dye Works Ladybug floss and a Ladybug scissor weight chart by You and I and Friends. And I'll have a picture here for so that you can see everything you're going to win. I'm doing an identical giveaway on Facebook that ends Friday, which is tomorrow, May 10th at noon. So if I get this posted and you see it, you can enter there also. There's a different question there, so you're going to have to search for the giveaway and enter that question if you get this in time. The question for this one is, the one on Facebook had to do with international travel. And on here, don't use the word giveaway or anything, but answer the question, what is your favorite place that you have visited within the United States? And if you don't have a favorite, or you can say where you would like to go within the United States. So my favorite places in the United States are the national parks. And of course there's the Grand Canyon, which is amazing. But there's also, here comes the bulb, come on up. So there's also, I think one of my favorite national parks was the Redwood Forest in Northern California. We went hiking there and stayed there for 3 days, and it was just amazing. And we went to Maine, to Acadia National Park, and it was beautiful. We've been to some others, but I'd have to say by far, the United States has the winner on the nature and natural park system. So, what's your favorite place? It doesn't have to be a park. It can be a city. Say, I love to go to Dallas. I love to go to Disney World. Whatever. But within the United States, if you don't live in the United States and have never visited, just name the favorite place that you like in your own country. So I'm going to sign off again and go and figure out the winner from last week's video. And then I also want to get a few charts that are not new, that are older, that you might only find on Cobweb Corner. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and the winner for last week's giveaway is Allison Corbin. So Allison, you have until my next video to get your information to me. You can find my email below. The question for last week was, did you have a garden? Or do you have a garden of any kind? So congratulations to Allison. A few of the charts that you can only find on Cobweb Corner, that you might only, you can find them on eBay and stuff, but two of the types of things you can find that you might not find in most of your online stores or your LNS. These are some older charts that I've got. Most of them are new, that come from stores that have gone out of business or from personal individual collections. So if there is somewhere, it will be described in our description of every item in red. You'll see condition statement, and it will tell you. So we've got things such as Brynwood Needleworks. This is a sampler. It says, "Oh, to be in England now that spring is here." Super old MBA by Nomis. I've had a number of these, different ones of these in the past. A lot of those have sold out. We've got Mosey and Me, Frank Santa. I've got a number of Mosey and Me charts available. Fancy That. I looked today just to see if anybody carried Fancy That, and they're not so easy to find anymore. So this one is Scarecrow of the month May, and I have a bunch of Fancy That charts. Be Mine, Sunflower Tree, and then here's just a sample of Dragon Dreams. This is Noah's Alphabet. So those are just a few of the charts. Okay, I'm making a separate video that I'm going to insert into my FlossTube video. One of the things that I want to talk about that I think is really important in the cross-stitch industry is illegal charts. I've thought about this for a long time, but the reason I want to talk about it now is because about a little over a week ago, I was on a Facebook cross-stitch group page, and somebody said, "Look at this great chart I bought. I bought it on AliExpress. I've never ordered from them before, and I hope I get it." If you're not familiar with AliExpress, it's a Chinese company. They have a ton of stuff with a iffy reputation, but that's fine. If what they sell is gets to you and you like it, and it's fine, except if it's an illegal chart. She posted a picture of what she did, and I immediately recognized it as Eggs All Around by Glendon Place, designed by Cheryl Granda? I don't know, I can't remember. And so I'm like, I don't think Cheryl sells her stuff on AliExpress. So I went and I looked, and I found it. It wasn't called Eggs All Around. It was called Easter Eggs or something like that. And sure enough, it was a copy of her chart. And I'm going to post some photos of that and some other things. See if you recognize those. And I will do that here. Okay, so all of the photos that you just saw were charts by a company called Joy Sunday out of China. And I'm sure you recognize there was the Eggs All Around by Glendon Place. There were 3 Mirabilia charts, and there was Nantucket Rose by Lavender and Lace, or maybe 2 Mirabilia, I can't remember, and a Celtic Winter by Lavender and Lace. All of those are illegal charts. Now, I had purchased a Joy Sunday kit on Amazon, and when I saw this, because Joy Sunday kits are also available on Amazon, and when I saw this, I hadn't started stitching it yet, and it was called Girl Sitting on Dragon Reading a Book, and if I can, I will insert a picture of that here. Okay, so I got really nervous, and I contacted Cheryl, and with Glendon Place, and I said, Cheryl, did you know your chart is on AliExpress and also on Amazon? And she was not happy. She was furious, and we emailed back and forth a little bit that day, and she said, I tried to contact AliExpress. I've spent 2.5 hours filling out forms, and basically they're not going to help me. And I said, well, start working with Amazon, because they might help you there. So this is a huge, huge problem. And I know that not every company in China is bad, but this one is. And the problem is, as a person purchasing, is you don't know if the chart you're buying is a copy or not. So I had purchased this Girl Sitting on Dragon Reading a Book. And I'm like, I'm not going to stitch this. I'm going to return it to Amazon if it's an illegal copy. So I spent over 2 hours trying to find that chart and that. I am so sorry. My phone went off again. I finally put it into airplane. Nobody ever calls me on my cell phone, and now I get 2 in one video. So anyway, back to illegal charts. So this is a huge, huge problem, and it's particularly a problem in China and in Russia. And what happens a lot of the times is they'll just take the image, scan it into a computer, scan the image, and create a chart on it. So the images you're going to get from them on the Lavender and Lace, the Eggs All Around, they are going to look similar, but they aren't going to have all the beautiful detail. First of all, you're paying for an illegal, they're an illegal chart. And second, they don't include all of the wonderful detail with the beading and the specialty threads and all of that stuff. It's going to come as a kit. A lot of them are stamped cross stitch, which is fine if you like stamped, but they're not going to be the same result. So anyway, as I was saying, I spent like 2.5 hours looking for this image of this girl and dragon, and I finally found it on DeviantArt, and it was an original pencil drawing by an artist. What was his name? David Roy or something like that. I'll post it and posted his information down below. And I was like, oh no, I'm sure they just stole this off of DeviantArt and used it. So I submitted a question on the DeviantArt page, but I wanted an answer because I was just really upset. And I finally found it's a French artist, and I found his website, and I found the name of the image is called Lecture. And I found the image on his website, and there were comments there, and one of the comments was, did you know that your chart is being sold as a kit on Amazon? And he wrote back, he says, yes, I know. They purchased limited royalty rights to have this printed as a chart. And I'm like, okay, that one's great. That's good for me. I get to stitch this chart, thank goodness. But you never know. And what's happening especially is PDF charts. So people, not just in China and Russia, but those are the ones that are hard to crack down on, are buying the chart, and then they're scanning it into a PDF format, and they're selling the PDF file. And this happens on Etsy. It happens on individual websites. It happens on sites like AliExpress. You have to be really, really careful. If you see a design and you're like, wow, that looks like Mirabilia, but it's way cheaper, it's probably not Mirabilia. I did notice on Amazon that none of the Joy Sunday Mirabilia charts were for sale. So I have a feeling, I don't know this, but I have a feeling that they were able to get them taken off of the Amazon site. I also looked at the comments of who had purchased those charts, and most of the customers who left reviews were from outside the United States, but some of them were from inside the United States. So I brought this information to posted it under the person's link, and of course they were mortified, and they were able to cancel their order. But designers will spend dozens and dozens and dozens of hours trying to stop people from selling their charts illegally. The best thing that you can do, as if you are conscious of this and care about this, which we all should, or our designers are going to quit designing, is to buy from legitimate cross-stitch stores like Cobweb Corner, but or your local needle workshop, and be very, very careful about who you buy from on Etsy and other shops. It's particularly if you're purchasing a PDF. There is nothing wrong with PDF files. A lot of artists, designers, and especially modern new designers are only selling in PDF format. But be careful. If you see something and you question it, or it sends off some kind of flag, there's probably a reason for that. So I was lucky. I'm going to go ahead and stitch the chart that I purchased because it was confirmed that it was legal. But the other person ended up purchasing her chart from a legitimate Glendon Place shop or distributor. So if you have any information on this, or if you have any comments on this, I'd love to hear it. It's a serious, serious issue. So just be careful. And if you aren't sure, ask. Most of the designers are really willing to answer your questions if you want to contact them, or contact me, or ask your local needle shop owner. It's hard to say, hey, I saw this for sale somewhere else, so what can you tell me about it? But most of all, just use your gut instinct. And if you think it's probably too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true. So anyway, that's our serious topic for this video. So on to better things. Okay. All right, I think that's about it. I hope that you enjoyed the video. I enjoy making them, and I'm going to keep them coming. Please, if you enjoyed it, consider subscribing by clicking the subscribe button down below, and then click on the bell. If you click the bell, you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. So I hope you have a great week, weekend, week, whatever day it is when you're watching this, and happy stitching, everybody. Thanks for watching.